Welcome to Certsy. In this video, I'll show you how to use the dictate function in Word 365 to create transcripts for audio and video files. Before I show you the process though, let's talk a little bit about transcripts. Transcripts are word for word written versions of what is being spoken or sounds that occur in an audio or video file. This could be a recorded meeting, a presentation, a video, a podcast, really anything with words and sound. Now, what I'm going to show you today is not a transcript for official purposes like a legal case. So I will sometimes clean up the ums and ahs, but I stay as close to the original as possible. Transcripts are similar, but not quite the same as captions. Transcripts are just a readout of the words and sound, but captions are synced to the words and sounds as they happen. You can use your transcript to create captions, and many sites like YouTube will auto generate captions. But it's a good idea to go back and see what's being generated and clean up any errors so your audience gets that right information. Now, transcripts and captions have several benefits. Not only are they important for things like accessibility, for example, but it turns out that most videos on YouTube and other social media platforms are watched without sound anyway. So you're losing the opportunity to communicate to the people who are interested in your content if you don't have transcripts and captions. The other major benefit is that keywords in your transcript will help your search engine optimization or your SEO. If you aren't familiar with SEO, it's producing your content in a way that makes it more visible to the algorithms that drive search engines like Google. And thus, it can be offered up to the people who might be interested in it. So, transcripts do this by creating a written record of what is being said in your audio or video file, which the algorithm can then scan and connect with keywords in people's searches. So, for instance, providing a transcript of this video will help Google, for instance, understand that I made this video for people who are looking to either learn how to create transcripts easily or maybe just are looking to improve their health comm skills. So, the last thing is, I personally use this technique in some other areas as well. So, I have used this process when I needed to create a summary or an outline from a recorded meeting. You could also use this for a webinar, a presentation, really anything that you might need to summarize or create an outline from. So, once you generate that transcript using the recorded file, you could then condense it yourself into a summary or outline, or you could paste that transcript that into ChatGPT, for instance, and ask it to generate a summary or an outline. I've also used this process to find quotes that then I can create into visuals that I've used on social media, on websites, and all kinds of other different communications products. And then the last way I really like to use this process is to help me polish presentations or things like these videos. After I create my content and record my voice, I generate a transcript. So I make sure that I'm providing all the information that I need to. I make notes where I might stumble over my words. And then I just generally try to improve my delivery so that it's a better experience for my audience. Okay, here's how I do it. The first thing to know is that this process will only work if you have Office 365, which has that dictate function. So check your Word subscription. It must say Word 365 or it might say Office 365, but look for the dictate function. So on my computer, it's a little blue microphone located in the upper right-hand corner of my Word window. So look for that. The second is that this will work best on audio and video files that only have one person speaking. You'll be playing your video or audio file out loud and using your computer's microphone to pick up the words. So it's possible that if there are two voices and they're fairly distinct, you can do this. But if there's any type of crossover, this process just does not work as well because Word won't be able to tell what's being said in your recording. The third thing is that your recording area must be quiet because you're going to be using the microphone. And so any other sounds that are in the area will be picked up by the microphone as well, and that will show up in your transcript. Next, you need to make sure that you have enough time in that quiet space. for your whole file to play through completely. Again, your microphone's going to pick up anything else, so you won't hear your audio or video correctly, and you'll have to do more editing. So, if you, for instance, have a file that you want to transcribe that is 8 minutes long, you need at least 8 minutes of quiet time. I will frequently start this process and then leave the room and close the door very quietly. And then the last thing is that any transcript that's generated must be edited for accuracy. So make sure you go through it very carefully before you release it so that you can make sure it's an accurate transcript. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is have open the video or audio file that I'm going to use. In this case, I'm going to use a presentation that I have previously recorded. And you also want to make sure that you have open your copy of Word. And so you can see here in the upper right hand corner, again, there is that dictate function. So if you click on this button, a menu will pop up. And that blue button means that it's recording, and we can turn that off for now. So now look for this little gear, and that's your settings. So go ahead and click on that and do a quick microphone check. So you can make sure that you have the right microphone selected and then just say something out loud to test the microphone.
Testing.
And then go ahead and also select enable auto punctuation. The auto punctuation feature will attempt to put what it's hearing into sentences. Otherwise, you just get a big block of text. So auto punctuation is not perfect, but it gets you a lot closer to a final product than not using it. So make sure that's selected and click OK. All right, so now we're going to go back to your video or your audio file that you want to transcribe. And there's going to be a little bit of delay between when you start your file and when you can click on the dictate function. So you want to make this as quick as possible. So go ahead and start your file, start to play your file, and then again, quickly head over and click on the dictate function. So your file will start to play out loud. And as you can see, Word will start to transcribe what it's hearing in your file. So I've taken the sound out of this file that I've dictated so that you can hear my voiceover rather than what I'm saying in that video. But if this were on your computer, you would hear my file playing out and you'd see that transcription show up. And so now, once you've got that started, you just let your file play all the way through while Word transcribes. Okay, so as you can see, my video here is just getting to the end. And so once it's done, go ahead and click on the blue microphone again to stop recording. And now you can see that Word has produced a rough transcript of my video. And this is where your editing begins. So the best way to do this, in my opinion, is to go back to the start. Now, again, I said there was going to be a little bit of a delay between the start of your video and when the dictate function kicked in. So I like to make sure that anything that I say right at the beginning of my file has been included in the transcript. So for instance, in this video, I know it says welcome to CertC to start, but it doesn't say that in my transcript. So I'll go back and add welcome to CertC as part of my transcript. Okay, so then you just go through the rest of your file, listen to it, and make sure that what was recorded in your transcript is accurate, makes sense. And again, you can do some light editing for punctuation and creating paragraphs to help your audience actually read the transcript, but it should stay as word for word as possible. Now, two other things I always will check are websites and acronyms. I work in an acronym heavy field, so I always like to check to make sure that acronyms are spelled out correctly as well. So again, just lots of little details to check for accuracy when you're running through this, but once you do, then you'll have a verbatim, word for word record of your audio or video file. All right, that's how you can use Word 365 to generate a transcript. And again, that can be useful in a lot of different ways. So I hope this was helpful and thanks for watching. Looking for more HealthComm content? Check out all of our trainings and resources at cirtc.org.